Are you thinking about moving to Blackfalds? Well, today's your lucky day if you are, because I'm going to go through some of the pros and cons of Blackfalds. If you stick around to the end of this video, I'm going to give you a little known secret about Blackfalds that you're not going to want to miss. If this is the first time to our video, please like, subscribe, and that way you'll get notifications whenever we do up new videos. We really do appreciate you guys taking the time to watch some of our videos. It tells us that we're on the right track. My name is Jason, along with my partner Shalane, and the rest of the team behind the Walls Real Estate Group. This is our channel, and we love to explain and show you things that you may not have known about the area. So whether you're looking to move in 9 days, 90 days, or even a year, it doesn't matter with us. We're gonna be here. We do the research, so you don't have to. So please give us a text, an email, or a message, and let us know how we can help you, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And we'll do everything we can to make your move to Central Alberta, and today specifically to Blackfalds, as easy as possible. So let's get going. So in this video, what I wanna do is I wanna target or focus on the pros and cons of Blackfalds. Blackfalds is just over 11,000 people. It's about 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers north of Red Deer, and it has been growing at a rapid rate for a long time. And I'm going to tell you why. There's a lot of good things. So I'm going to do the David Letterman, and we're going to do the top 10. So here we go. Number 1, the proximity Red Deer. Blackfalds is a really good community. It's a little bit less expensive for the properties. You get a little bit bigger yards, and we'll talk about some of the amenities, but the proximity to Red Deer is super close. So if you want to stay out of the bigger city, but you still want to take a look at some of the things that are more convenient and easier to get to, Blackfalds is definitely the place to be. It is the closest city to Red Deer that there is. The number 2 with Blackfalds is the affordable houses. So you'll find when you're looking, if we're showing you properties in Blackfalds, they are going to be slightly less expensive than they would be in Red Deer. And it's not always just the price. You're going to get a bit bigger lots, really friendly neighborhoods. It's very family oriented. So what I like about Blackfalds is there's a lot of newer communities, but there's also some of the older ones if you like the older homes and the larger trees and things like that. But you will get a slightly more for your dollar in Blackfalds than you will in Red Deer. So if that's kind of what you're looking for, and it's still, like I mentioned on the number 1 pro, it's only about a 10-15 minute drive. So those 2 things are the top 2 reasons. Number 3, community growth. Like I had mentioned earlier, Blackfalds has grown a lot over the last 5 or 10 years. They've really put a lot of money in infrastructure, commitment to families. There's a lot of different new buildings, and I'll highlight some of them, but you know, they've got the Abbey Center, which is an amazing facility. Outdoor pool, water slides, indoors, there's all sorts of things for the kids and families to do. So it is really growing a lot, and there's some new schools and stuff coming up, and we'll talk about those too. But that is my number 3, is just the community growth and the rate that Blackfalds is growing. Obviously, it's a great place because a lot of families are turning to that for their next home. Number 4, the recreational facilities in Blackfalds. So as you're driving around, and as you'll see in the pictures that are coming up right now, Blackfalds has had a tremendous focus on communities, recreational facilities. There's a BMX track, there's skateboard park, there's the Abbey Center that has the outdoor park, outdoor swimming pool, slides, and then of course the indoor portion of it. They just built a brand new hockey facility that got built, I think it just opened last year, maybe it was the year before. But these are all top-notch, first class. And for a town of 11,000 people, it really is impressive, the commitment that Blackfalds Town Council and the businesses and the community have put behind it to have the facilities that they do. And if you're driving around when we're looking at properties, I will point those out, but they really are amazing. Not many towns the size of Blackfalds has the amount of facilities they have, and it really is great for kids, families, and adults alike. Number 5, just touching on that last one, it's just family oriented. So there's a lot of bike trails, there's a lot of parks, you can get through town, there's a lot of paved parks. There really is a lot for the family and stuff to do. So when you're looking to get outdoors in the summertime when it's nice out, there's tons of things to do. And then if you want to go out in the wintertime, they've got lots of toboggan hills, skating rinks, indoor, outdoor, and we're close to canyon, those kind of places. So the one nice thing about Blackfalds is just the commitment to make sure that people stay active, and it really is pretty cool to watch and to see. Number 6, just a strong community support. So as I mentioned, there's not a lot of towns that have the facilities that Blackfalds do, and it's just very community minded. They have a focus on growth, they have a focus on safety. There's kids running around everywhere in all the parks, skate parks, things like that. So people just don't have to seem to worry about the crime and that kind of stuff that you see in some of the bigger centers. And just the focus that everybody seems to have. It is honestly one of the friendliest communities. When you're driving around and down the streets, it's quiet and everybody will say hi to you and things like that. So the strong community sense is really nice. So number 7 is access to nature. So as I'd mentioned, it's not a very big town, just over 11,000. So if you want to get out and see nature, they've got some really nice parks and stuff, and there's trail systems. There's a trail that goes right from Red Deer through Blackfalds to the Lacombe, and that trail is really nice. And there's a couple lakes that you'll drive by when you're on your bike or your e-bike or whatever it is that you're traveling on these trails. So there's no shortage of things to do for bicycling or picnicking or just having time spent outside and enjoying the outdoors. We're doing this video right now in September, and it's a beautiful September right now, and so it's a time to get outdoors and enjoy the crisp mornings and cool evenings and the leaves changing colors and stuff like that. It really is a lot of nice things to see around Blackfalds. Number 8 is economic opportunities. So because Blackfalds is growing so much, there's a lot of opportunities for employment. It's a really entrepreneurial town, so if you're looking to start up a business, there's no shortage of space to build your new business. There's storefronts, there's malls, that kind of stuff is springing up, strip malls. So there really is good opportunity for employment, and obviously if you want to be an entrepreneur and start up your own business, there's lots to do around there. I'll show you some of the pictures of some of the new buildings and things around there, but it really is a nice to have. Number 9 is a safe environment. So I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but you will really see a lot of kids running around. It is a safe community. There's not a lot of crime in Blackfalds, which is obviously very nice to have that. That's part of one of the safer communities that we have. And most of the communities in Central Alberta are that way. But it just seems like within Blackfalds, it's a lot of younger families. And so whether they're walking to grab a Slurpee or they're off to school in the mornings and afternoons, it just really is a safe community, and people don't seem to have to worry too much. Obviously, you still have to take your normal precautions, but it is really nice to see. And it's a huge thing within Blackfalds. You feel that small town safety. And number 10 is the youth opportunities. So that kind of ties into a couple of the other numbers that we wanted to highlight as the pros of Blackfalds. But there's lots of school programs, there's lots of after school, there's lots of sporting events, and Blackfalds is getting 2 new schools. They both are open coming up this September of 2024, which is nice. So you can just see what, as far as the growth goes, they knew that they need to bring in some more room for all the growing population. But yeah, the youth has so many opportunities for things. And if they do want to still go to the city of Red Deer, then it's still a short commute. But now more and more people are able to stay within Blackfalds just because of what's happening. And the schools are beautiful, like the 2 new ones, they really are nice. So that is, one of the big things that's nice within Blackfalds. They got the big ball diamonds and things like that all around there too. So there's no shortage of things to do within Blackfalds that you don't even have to leave anymore. So that's kind of the top 10 David Letterman pros of Blackfalds. All right, so today we don't always just want to focus on the pros because we want to give you both sides of the coin. So now I'm going to do the top 10 cons that I feel are within Blackfalds. And the first one is the rapid growth challenges. So as I've said to you earlier, Blackfalds is growing probably quicker than a lot of the other communities around here. So it's trying to keep up on the infrastructure. There's a couple more grocery stores. There's a few more franchise restaurants, things like that coming in. But until the last few years, one of the cons I felt it was if you wanted to do anything other than just the normal small shops, is you'd have to drive into Red Deer or up to Lacombe. And so that's just kind of one of the cons, but it is getting better. But if that's kind of what I feel, you still have to do quite a bit of commuting if you are in Blackfalds. The number 2 con, it kind of ties into that, is just limited shopping. So they really are starting to grow and there's starting to be more options there. But up until the last few years, there was limited shopping. So if you want clothes or things like that, then most of those shops were in Red Deer. So that was one of the cons I felt, was that if you needed to go take the kids back to school shopping or things like that, then you were always driving back and forth to Red Deer. Number 3 con is public transportation. So there are cabs in Blackfalds and there are shuttles that go from Blackfalds into Red Deer mornings and evenings. But public transport is really not that well equipped in Blackfalds, and so if you don't have a car and you need to make other arrangements, it is a little bit tougher. We don't have Uber right now either. Even in Red Deer, I think there's only a couple cars, but it just hasn't seemed to take off the way it has in the bigger centers. But that would be a number 3 con, is just the public transportation challenges. My number 4 con is limited healthcare facilities. So we're fortunate enough to have a big hospital in Red Deer as well as Lacombe, but Blackfalds doesn't have a hospital. There are some healthcare facilities there, some walk-in clinics and things like that, of course. But that would be a con, in my opinion, is just that there isn't more available. But I think that that's probably changing as well. But yeah, that's my number 4 con, is just the lack of the healthcare facilities. Number 5, well, this is everywhere. Winter weather. So obviously we have a lot of winter up here in Central Alberta that you may not have depending on where you are. So it's always a challenge getting around. We're pretty well equipped and we're pretty adaptable, obviously, because we're used to it. But as I mentioned in the last point, if you don't have a car, then the transportation can be tricky. And in the winter, when the weather's not very nice and the wind's blowing and the roads are icy, it gets to be even more of a challenge. So that to me is a con. But no worse in Blackfalds than it is in any other cities around. Number 6 con, limited nightlife. So if you got some teenagers or things like that and you want to do some things at night, there's not as much to do as there would be in Red Deer. You got to come to Red Deer for movie theaters. If you want to watch the Red Deer Rebels, you have to come to Red Deer. Just different things like that. There's not as many options. So there are still some with all the facilities, the sports facilities and things like that. But for other types of activity, then you seem to have to go more back to Red Deer than there are in Blackfalds. Number 7 was, but this is happy to see that it's changing, was school capacity. So a lot of kids were being bused either to Lacombe or to Red Deer from Blackfalds, especially the high schools. But now with the brand new schools, that has changed. But that was something that we saw as a drawback. And so that now should be more of a pro than it was a con. And isn't that nice to see that the cities or towns are growing and trying to meet the needs of the growing kids. But that was one before, but it's nice to see that's been changed. All right, number 8. This one I touched on earlier as well, property taxes. So the one thing that we've noticed is with Blackfalds, the property taxes are higher than they are in the city of Red Deer or Sylvan, Innisfail, Penhold, some of the other communities that are close by. However, they are justified if you want to pay them because they do offer all the different facilities that Blackfalds has. And with their limited population, it really is impressive that they have the facilities they do. And so whenever I sell properties in Blackfalds, Shalane and I always take a look and say, look, just to be aware, you are getting all of this, but there is the property taxes. And it's not a big difference, but it is the highest property taxes that are among the smaller towns. But as I mentioned, it's easily justifiable and more people than not just have no issues with it because they know what they're paying for, and it's nice to help support the town and grow the way it has been. And they appreciate that the tax dollars are being used well and having these facilities built for everybody. Number 9, industrial development. So like I mentioned, there's not a lot of industrial businesses around Blackfalds. There's some on the south side and southeast side of Blackfalds. And it is doing more on the west side, west of Highway 2 and on the south part of Blackfalds. But there wasn't a lot of commercial buildings before that. So there's a little bit of, I guess, a narrower selection. So if you are wanting to build a business, there's maybe not the same amount of land or land opportunities there might be in some of the other cities. So that's just something to take into account when you're considering if you want to go to Blackfalds and want to do that. And number 10 is a limited education opportunities. And again, that's been addressed with the new schools. So I think that that's much less of a con than it was a year or two ago. But if you do want to go to the Red Deer Polytech or Lacombe University, there is some commuting to be done, Olds College, that kind of stuff. Blackfalds doesn't have any of that. So if you're wanting to go post-secondary or go past grade 12 on to the next step, then Blackfalds doesn't have any of those options. But again, I don't think many people see that as a con. It's just something that we want to point out to everybody. And that's it. That's my top 10 pros and my top 10 cons. So the biggest secret that is in Blackfalds that we wanted to make sure and share is the brand new school that is just opening this month. We just had some clients move here from Ontario, and one of their children is going into grade 12 and one's going into grade 8. And they're both going into new schools, and they just said the facility was amazing. The teachers were friendly, welcoming, that kind of stuff. So it really is nice to see that the town is growing and keeping able to grow with the population. So if this has been information has been helpful to you guys, please hit like, subscribe, and make sure you watch our next channels coming up. We do the research so you don't have to. So whether you're looking to buy 9 days, 90 days, or a year from now, Shalane and I are ready and here for you. So give us a shout, text, email, or just leave us a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. And we like to have interaction with our clients and people. So don't be shy, send us a message. We will respond to you as soon as we can. Thanks very much.